Hi students, my name is Miss Rosandra Limburg-Finance, and in this grade 7 social studies lesson, we'll be looking at an interesting topic, rules relating to travel. Now, if you remember in our last lesson, we looked at rules when dealing with family and friends. We noted that there are no hard and fast rules that state specifically how friends and families should be treated, but there are common principles when followed enriches all relationships. We also shared some tips for building healthy relationships, and we noted that some of these are openness, kindness, tolerance, respect, sharing, giving, receiving, and these are among others. In this lesson, we'll be looking at rules as it relates to our safety and protection, especially as it pertains to when we are traveling. We'll be looking at rules as it pertains to traveling by the 3 transport modes, and these are water, air, and land. It should be noted, regardless of which mode of transport you choose, specific rules must be adhered to ensure our safety at all times. Now take a minute, look at the pictures. Can you see why it's important to adhere to rules as it relates to traveling by air, water, and land? Do you know, in Guyana, deaths by road accidents fall within the top 10 causes? Yes. Additionally, it is the #1 cause of death among persons between the age of 5 to 14, and the #2 cause of death among persons aged 15 to 24. Also, as of September 2020, Guyana had recorded a 43% increase in traffic deaths when compared to year 2019. In other words, breaking the rules can result in accidents with damages to property, people, or even worse, can result in death. Therefore, it's critical for all road users to observe the established rules and guidelines set up to protect all, including pedestrians, riders, and drivers. Here are some rules to observe when traveling by air. Have you ever traveled in an airplane? Then you'll be familiar with some of these rules. 1. Passengers must put on their seatbelts when instructed to do so. There should be no smoking on the airplane. No firearms or explosive materials are allowed on the aircraft. 4. No weapons, including knives, etc., or sharp objects are allowed on the aircraft also. Are you familiar with some of those rules? Now we'll talk about some rules that should be observed when traveling by water. 1. Boat owners should be licensed to traverse the waterways. That's very important. 2. Know the capacity of the boat. You have to know how many people are allowed, the weight that should be allowed, and do not exceed them. Make sure that you're wearing a life jacket every time you're traveling by boat. And 2, you have to make sure that there's an anchor on the boat at all times. Now, here are some rules that we should observe when traveling by land. 1, you have to walk on the right-hand side of the road. 2, you have to use the pedestrian crossing when crossing the street or road. 3, vehicles traveling on the road must observe the designated speed limit. And 4, motor vehicles must have brakes, lights, and must always be in good working conditions. Now, these are some of the rules that govern when we travel by air, water, or land. There are others, and in your research, you'd come across those. Now, for our homework, you are required to list 5 rules that must be observed when using the road. Finally, you're required to draw 3 traffic signs you would frequently see and state what they represent. In summary, we noted rules are established guidelines that govern what we should or shouldn't do. We said rules are set up for our safety and protection, especially as it pertains to traveling, whether it's by land, water, or by air. Then we looked at the 3 modes of transportation and we identified several rules that govern them. Now this has brought us to the end of our lesson, where we discuss rules as it relates to travel. I am Miss Chrysandria Lindberg-Finance. See you in our next session, where we'll be exploring another interesting topic. Bye, students.